As it is compressed and decompressed, the airflow has sufficient power to drive the Wells turbine. It is a feature of the Wells turbine, named after its inventor, that it is driven in the same direction by both forward and reverse airflow through the turbine. Even relatively low wave motions can generate enough airflow to keep the turbine moving and to generate energy. This is how easily energy can be generated with a wave power station, day and night, all year round, as long as there are waves. The world's first power station of this kind was put in service as early as November 2000 on the Scottish island of Islay and has been feeding power to the grid ever since.
Earth, home to nearly 7 billion people. And as the population grows, so does the demand for power. But in today's world, we are faced with an even greater challenge. With concerns increasing over climate change, it is essential that we change the way we think about generating power, not only to meet the increasing demand, but to do it in a way that preserves our environment for future generations. Introducing the Regeneradyne wind turbine system. For centuries, mankind has utilized the power of the wind. But for today's power needs, we need to bring wind power to a whole new level. A modern marvel in engineering, which uses a unique combination of science and technology to form an extremely efficient and powerful generator. By comparison, it is estimated that a single Regeneradyne system can produce the power equivalent of 500 standard wind turbines. By design, the entire site is centralized into one location, and in most configurations, a typical installation would require approximately 100 acres of land. This consolidation not only improves efficiency, but can also save on land resources. A key advantage of the Regenedyne system is its use of magnetic levitation. This allows the turbine to essentially float on a magnetic cushion of air. And by reducing resistance due to friction, the power output is increased dramatically. The outer sails move to accommodate the wind from any direction. These dynamic sails work to capture a larger portion of the wind and increase the airflow into the turbine. In the event maintenance or repair is required, additional features have been incorporated into the design, such as a helicopter landing platform and an integrated crane. Also, the primary components are located at ground level for improved accessibility. With on-site power storage and conversion, the Regenedyne system is completely self-sufficient and grid-ready. The economics of wind power have steadily improved over the years, and with the added benefit of being a domestically produced energy source, this new wind power plant competes favorably against other forms of power generation. Global demand for electricity is increasing exponentially, and as we approach the limits of fossil fuel consumption, wind power has regained global interest as a safe, cost-effective, and renewable energy source. Regenedyne is committed to leading the industry and the world in changing the way we create power going forward.
Seldom has the unveiling of a gray box the size of a parking space been surrounded by such hype.
It's my baby, isn't she beautiful?
But its inventor says what's inside the box can supply the world with clean, cheap energy.
The core of our technology simply is sand.
The sand is the raw material used to make these wafers that can make electricity.
What I want to introduce to you, the Bloom Energy Fuel Cell.
Bloom's fuel cell works like this. Oxygen is pumped in on one side, natural gas on the other. The two combine inside the cell to create a chemical reaction that produces electricity. No burning, no combustion, no power lines from outside.
This particular device, way back, John, you remember, Vinod, you remember, 5 watts. There's a Moore's law equivalent. I don't know what that is yet. We will tell you in a few years. Today it produces 25 watts, enough for a light bulb. 2 years from now, stay tuned. Okay? So you take a bunch of these together and you put them together in what we call a stack. Think of this as the chip in your computer. If this were the microprocessor in your computer, this would power an average US home. 24/7, 365, all your energy needs, average US home. So you take a bunch of these stacks, put them together in a box about the size of a refrigerator, and that's enough to power a small Starbucks coffee shop. You take 4 of those 25 kilowatts together and put them in a box, affectionately called the Bloom box now, about the size of a parking lot. We would prefer you call it the Bloom Energy Server. About the size of a parking space. And that can power a small supermarket. You need more power? You do exactly what you do in a data center. You have multiple servers, and as your computing need increases, you keep adding the servers. You just cluster them. You just cluster our boxes to add to the power that you need to meet your energy needs.
Imagine a world where the weather didn't matter. A world where you could grow tomatoes, lettuce, and a whole host of other fruits and vegetables, even when it's 30 below. Welcome to Ted Marshallden's world.
We can be indoors, so you could set this like clockwork. It's high noon all day, every day, 24/7.
In Ted's world, plants aren't affected by drought, cold, or any other plight affecting farmers today. And unlike a greenhouse, he doesn't need daylight or much space. Ted calls this the future of farming.
Everybody's moving into the cities. Where 50% of the population in North America is in the cities, they figure this is going to go up to 80%. So we've stacked up people, but we have not stacked up farming.
Plants are grown in these stacked up, slow-rotating cylinders. Using the cylinder means each plant is bathed in equal light. If the plants were laid out flat, he'd have to use 6 times more light. The moving cylinders have another benefit as well.
Plants are trying to right themselves against gravity whenever they're not perpendicular to the ground. So if you turn a tomato plant on its side, a nice pliable week-old tomato plant, it will make a 90-degree turn back up against gravity in 15 minutes.
And here's the really cool part. Ted says because the plants are constantly turning in the cylinder, they're always fighting against gravity. And that constant battle forces extra nutrients to the stems, making bigger, stronger, faster-growing plants.
We've noticed as much as a factor 5 increase in the growth rate of the plants versus something that's just sitting stagnant, even with the same conditions. We did romaine lettuce. The seed packet said 60 to 75 days, and we were done in 15 days.
He says he uses about 1% of the water used on a field farm and far less space.
If you give me a 10-story building with an acre of footprint, my calculations are I can turn that into about 400 acres of field farm production equivalency.
Ted says farmers could potentially grow fields of food anywhere,